Thanks for staying with us. This is Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And this morning, we are still looking at Inec, the build-up to 2027, and Nigeria's unresolved electoral reform issues. And we see how with us Mr. Bukola Idowu, Executive Director, Kimpact Development Initiative. Thank you, Mr. Idowu, for staying with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Idowu, you recall that on this program some time ago, we talked about the possibility of having elections in one day. My concern now is actually one of the technologies, because you raised a critical issue on that segment that day. You said BVAS, for instance, the bimodal voter accreditation system, that something happened when, after conducting the presidential election, that they had to wipe it before conducting the next election, the state elections. Don't you see that as a concern not being addressed in the Electoral Act? And don't you think it might also cause problems moving into 2027 if we do not change that?
So it is, and that is why I said that the election we are going to have in 2027 with the same Electoral Act, with the same legal framework we have now, if it's not amended. Don't forget, it was in 2022 that the President Muhammadu Buhari signed, February 2022, that he signed that Electoral Act to be. But what we are saying now is that the moment that law was put to test, then we saw loopholes. Now, if these loopholes were not addressed, we are going to face the same thing in the next election, which means nothing is going to be different. Now, let me repeat what I said again for the benefit of those who are just listening and who are not in support of probably conducting election in a single day. Of course, we talk about cost, it will reduce cost, it will reduce a whole lot of things. But this is what we are saying technically. Election to the president's office are conducted in February. When that is conducted in February, the next thing that happens is that the presidential office, then National Assembly are conducted. Now, if that is conducted 3 weeks after, basically March, February, March, you have the governorship and the state houses of assembly election. Now, the law says you can file your petition 21 days, not more than 21 days after the declaration of results. So what it means that, let's take it this way. If election was conducted February 27, for instance, now it takes them 2 days to declare results. So which means by 29th, let's say we have that in February, 29th of February, your 21 days, they declare that result by 29th of February. So your 21 days will start counting from that 29, not from 27, that the election was conducted. So now count your 21 days. That takes you that it will start from 1st of March. So by 21st of March, you cannot file any petition again. Now, election 3 weeks after that, maybe it will fall around 18th. Election will have to be conducted on the 18th for governorship and state house of assembly. Now, what is now the next thing? The people that are aggrieved for the presidential election want to go to court and want to use BVAS as evidence, because you want to tender BVAS as evidence. You want to get the data from BVAS, because you need to look at what is on BVAS at the same time what is on the server, back-end server. So you want to tender it. Now, the same Inec is not telling you that, look, this BVAS you are requesting for is also what I am going to use to conduct 18th, the governorship election on the 18th. So you cannot stop the election because we don't have BVAS. I mean, we have 176,000 polling units. BVAS is not allocated maybe 3 to each of the polling units. It's one per polling unit, but there are extras. So if it develops a fault, you bring another one. So we don't have presidential beavers and we don't have governorship beavers. So what it means is that that technicality is there. So, which means you may not be able to get the data you want on IREF and tender IREF, from beavers and tender it as evidence, because the same thing will have to be used. So you either rely on Inec to say, look, and trust Inec to say, look, it has been backed up. Then you are able to get that one. And then the court will allow. Because in 2023, Inec went to court and sought relief to say, please allow us to go and conduct this election. So that technicality is there. How can it be remedied? Now, it's either you conduct the election in a single day, then after the election, the same beavers is taken to court for your redress. So INEC is not waiting to say, oh, we want to reconfigure. Then it will affect the data. Because we did this for presidential, we want to reconfigure for governorship. So it is still the same thing that will now be used for everything. Don't forget, it's the same beavers that was used for president and for the National Senate and the House of Reps. Because the moment you are accredited once, you just get your 3 ballot paper and then you go and put it wherever you want to put it.
All right.
So it's going to be...
All right, Mr. Idowu. Then another solution would be to have separate beavers for subsequent elections, maybe for the governorship and House of Assembly.
Which is very expensive. Very, very expensive. So you are procuring another set of beavers. Now, go and look at the budget of beavers when beavers are procured. Even when you go to the election, go and look at INEC budget. Technology and maybe security and manpower deployment and all those stuff, take highest chunk of that. Then litigation. So how do this country now say, look, we want to procure new set of beavers again for governorship election? So it's very expensive. However, if that is what, if the money, and don't forget we are talking about is because it's expensive, so we don't want to incur more costs, and that is the issue we have to begin to think about. So if we want to reduce the cost, because look, in some of the countries that the military have taken over and they have been demonizing and then pulling down democracy, is because they have been talking about the high cost. And Nigeria should not fall into that and say, no, we must reduce costs, and then the first thing you are pulling down is the electoral process. Is what is making democracy to be stronger. So we must begin to think about how do we reduce the cost and conduct our election on a single day. And like I said, the opportunity cost of conducting an election differently is high than conducting on a single day, because on both days that you conduct the election, you lock the country down twice. We don't need that.
All right. All right, Mr. Idowu. Another loophole, another major loophole in the Electoral Act, as we have seen, that's Electoral Act 2022, is that the Supreme Court has established that regardless the absence of presiding officer's signature, date, and stamp on a ballot paper, that it doesn't render the ballot invalid as long as the returning officer is satisfied with it. What do you say to that? So if we have a ballot paper that doesn't carry the signature and stamp of the presiding officer, that it doesn't really matter as long as the returning officer is satisfied. That is a serious loophole.
That is one of the wonders of the world, of our electoral system, that is still amazing someone like me. You know, and that's you see, and that most times has brought us to where we are. As someone who, one of our project that we do is on election result management. So we go and analyze election results to see the compliance level with what INEC declared. You go to IREF. I can tell you that at Kimpact, we have analyzed over 55,000 results on IREF. 55,000 over. I can tell you that place is littered with a lot of Form EC8A result sheet that were not signed by agents. And that was not a grant to invalidate. Do you know the implication? The implication is that, let me give you an example. In Imo governorship election, the last one, I think 2023 governorship election, do you know what happened? In a particular ward in Imo, the entire result was written by one man, the same handwriting. So what I'm trying to say is this: a ward, you know the combination of polling units in a ward. So if you have like about 21 polling units in a particular ward, one man wrote it, the same handwriting. Now, what it means is that such particular result, if nobody signed it, if no opposition signed it, that look, this reflects it, they said you cannot invalidate it. So
as long as the returning officer is satisfied.
So who do I need to go after? Returning officer. But the reason why the people that talk about sign, all the political party agents to sign, because the column to sign is there. If I mean, I don't know if the producer have Form EC8A, they can put it on the screen. You will see the column for each of the political party agents to sign. And the people that did that did it in the sense that everybody agrees that this is a true reflection of what transpired in this polling unit. And yet we now get to the court. The court is now saying, no, whether you sign or you don't sign, then it doesn't matter. Because those people that don't sign those days, the reason is that they disagree. And when you disagree, you say, look, I'm not going to sign because I disagree with what happened here.
Absolutely.
What do we need to do is to now administratively look at it. That, okay, what is your concern? What is your concern? And come together. And then, okay, so this is it. Now, it is like you are playing a game of football, and then they are not talking about assistant video referee. You know? So you now look at it, okay, fine, this is what transpired. Now, oh, this is what, okay, we made a mistake here, we couldn't count, and then every one of you come together and you are able to sign. But today, the judgment, the Supreme Court is saying whether you sign or you did not sign it, and that is why you see all manners of alteration. I can tell you, please, next time you are going to invite me on similar thing, I will send you from EC8A. We will go on iRef, download it. I will send you from EC8A to give you these examples. You will see the one with arithmetic error where the entire arithmetic is like, if you put all the votes together, then it should give you like about 280. Then by the time they get to total, they wrote 2,080. Now, there are
basic arithmetic errors.
Serious arithmetic error. Then there are some that you will see that total registered voter, 1,080. Total accreditation, 1,080. In the same polling unit, nobody has traveled, 100% turnout. It's not possible anywhere. Nobody has traveled, nobody has died, nothing has happened. You get 1,080 registered voter, 1,080 accreditation. You will see total vote cast. In some places, total vote cast is 200. Total accreditation, 180. That is simply telling you overvoting.
Yeah.
And all of them made it to IRED. Some people did not sign it, and yet results were being declared and candidate returned. This is what we are talking about. So we need to clear some of these things, and until we return that power back to the Form EC8A at the polling unit, that every one of you must sign. You understand? You must sign, and if you are not going to sign, then you go. There has to be a strong justification for it that you are not signed. That means at that particular level, your grievances was not addressed. Then it should now go to the collation center to be addressed. But that whether you sign or not, it means nothing. Then we are joking about electoral integrity in Nigeria.
Mr. Idowu, so again, who should we hold responsible for these, discrepancies? These are basic, should I call it schoolboy errors, costing people their mandates, people losing elections. So who should we hold responsible? Are you saying it's the judiciary now? Now, we've seen the serious flaws in the Electoral Act 2022, very serious flaws. I don't want to attribute them, I don't want to call them schoolboy errors. But again, who should we hold responsible for these errors, for these flaws?
So 3 sets of institutions. Number 1, you hold Inec responsible, the box stopped on their table, because then number 2, you hold our educational system accountable, and then you hold the political party accountable, our political class. Now, what am I trying to say? In some instances, political party induced these people to make this error deliberately. Let me give you. You see, one of the things I am studying, and we are studying now, which we will still make public to Nigerians, is that how elections are rigged, and people need to understand that. Think about it this way. One of the issues we have, and why I talked about INEC and then the political class inducing people, you have seen people picking beavers and flash it in the face of the people, and that person is not accredited. The beavers did not accredit the person because the person was tipped to do that fake accreditation. So what does that mean is that, and then you will be given the ballot paper to go and vote. Then the moment you do it for 5 people deliberately in the opponent's stronghold, get me right, in the opponent's stronghold, they just say, look, not do this thing for 5 people. It means
those votes are automatically invalidated.
It means overvoting because they were not accredited by the votes. So overvoting is when the total valid vote is more than accredited voter. So if you flash it in the face of the people and they did not, the beavers did not count it, and then they have 5 polling and 5 ballot paper to go and vote, then you have 5 overvoting. What is the law say? The law says anywhere there is overvoting is automatic cancellation. So all do I need to do is look at the opponent, stronghold, just beg that guy, induce the guy, and then ask the guy to go and do that rubbish. And then the guy goes there to do the rubbish, and then then you will not be claiming, I know in some polling unit, that is how you see politicians, they are overvoting. We have evidence. They know what they have done. So they now want to court, they invalidate that, and that is exactly what happened. So see, that is politician inducing the system. That is even INEC staff, whether ad hoc or not, also being compromised. That's why I say he stopped on the box stop on the INEC. Then number 2, inability of INEC to administratively rectify some of these results instead of saying go to court. Instead of saying go to court, you can administer. The law says you have 7 days to administratively rectify the result. But what we have seen is go to court. So that has also been the issue. Then lastly is our educational system. We now begin to have graduates who cannot do simple arithmetic. When we are bringing this up, some people will give them make excuses for them that no, as at the time they were doing it, they were under pressure. Anybody can make a mistake. There are some mistakes that you can say this is a mistake. For instance, where I told you is 2080. So you wrote 2080 with with figures. It's possible. But you now wrote the same 2080 in words. It's no longer a mistake. So these are the issue. So when you now begin to look at the corpus, that we are using, ad hoc that we are using, that in terms of simple arithmetic they can't do, then we are having a problem.
All right, Mr. Idowu, quite interesting. So many challenges we are having. Another one.
Well, I just hope I have not painted a gloomy picture. But this
you are saying it as it is.
People to see the issue so that everybody will join in advocating for the right thing.
Absolutely, you are saying it as it is, and that is what we do right here on Western Spring Television. That's what we do, saying it as it is. It's not as if we are being pessimistic, like I said during the introduction. Mr. Bukola, another critical aspect I would like us to look at before the end of the program is the fact that we are still having discrepancies between hard copy results and the ones transmitted to Inec. How do we reconcile that? When the results from the polling units, the hard copy results, are quite different from the one on IREF. What do we do? How do we reconcile that? For us to have free and fair elections.
That normally happens. That normally happens when INEC structure have been infiltrated. That is just the truth. That normally happens. Anytime you see that happen, is because somebody somewhere have been compromised within the INEC structure. And I tell you point blank, result sheet is a sensitive material. They are not classified as not sensitive material. So what it means is that, look, what you wrote and you transmitted from the polling unit to IREF and you put it there, everybody saw that, they snap it. You know, the same thing you pasted at the unit, they snap it. Then you now get to court. Maybe you rely on the one on IREF. You now get to court. You are now asking for CTC. Then you now saw the CTC that is totally different from what you want. So which one will you believe? Of course, you are going to believe the CTC because don't forget, IREF doesn't have legislative backing. So you're not going to believe. And that is why some people have been played out. Let me make this practical. In 2024, Kogi governorship election, the election that brought in Ododo, Governor Ododo now, in Ogorimagongo to be precise, before the election starts, when they got to the polling unit, the polling agents, all of them insist that they want to see the result sheet. By the time they opened the result sheet, they saw that result had been fed already. Election have not started. And I'm talking about I'm talking about 7:30 in the morning of a day of election. Now, result have been fed. That result supposed to be sealed is a sensitive material that was kept in the CBN. So what am I trying to say is that, look, whenever you see such a thing, and do you know what happened? INEC released the entire Ogorimagongo, that word where it happened, was cancelled, and INEC put out a statement that they are going to investigate. Till today, we have not seen the result of the investigation. Till today. So what am I trying to say is this. Anytime you see those kind of discrepancy, it is because there is something wrong within that system. However, it is also possible that if you tabulate, let me now balance it. If you tabulate what is on IREF, it may be more. It may be more than the result declared. It's possible. Because when they get to polling units, they might cancel some places based on whatever happened. You know, it can be due to this. Maybe they got to the place, they discovered this arithmetic error I just told you now, and you saw overvoting, they can cancel it. So, which means the result you are holding has been cancelled at the collation center. So it can be lesser. But this is where the challenge is. Then everybody should query. If what is being declared, now is more than what is on IREF, because you cannot hard vote. You can take away, but you cannot hard. So that is the difference. We need to begin to look at this thing critically. And do you know why this persists? It persists because, let me make it practical. You remember this by-election?
Absolutely.
INEC staff were apprehended in Ogun State that they collected results. I mean, they collected money. I don't know if you...
Yes. We had that on this program. Yes, we relayed that on this program. Yes.
According to the law, who is meant to prosecute them? Is the INEC. So INEC is saddled with the responsibility to prosecute. They are their
own staff.
So that is it. So, and that is why till now we have not had anything on that case. They can still tell you they are investigating.
All right, Mr. Idowu, quite a lot to talk about. Quickly, before we go, because we are running out of time, let's now look at the underlying principle of corruption in Nigeria. Because all these discrepancies, it all boils down to corruption. What can we do to tackle electoral fraud? For instance, look at Inec. Look at all the monies allocated to Inec. They got all those technologies. They gave promises. Inec boss gave promises, at Chatham House, in the US, everywhere, extolling the virtues of the technologies, how elections in Nigeria will be free and fair. But unfortunately, we keep having these complaints over and over again. And no, Inec is not really taking responsibility. Sometimes when you speak up, when the opposition speak up, they think we are just being pessimistic. They think Nigerians are just criticizing, but these are real. You are on the field, Mr. Idowu. You have seen all these discrepancies yourself. So how can we tackle corruption as far as electoral fraud is concerned in Nigeria?
So number one thing we are talking about here, in terms of our election, one of the things we are advocating for is the establishment of Electoral Offense Commission. So take that power away from INEC. So which means the commission can also try and punish INEC staff. Unlike what you have now, that the burden of prosecution is on INEC. And when their staff is the one infringing, then what happened? So these are the issue. So when you have that, then that will solve the problem. But generally, how do we solve corruption issue? Most especially in our electoral space, is because corruption persists because people have not been held accountable. Simple. People have not been held accountable. As a matter of fact, people are being rewarded. So until we start punishing and giving power to institutions to be truly independent, which means the police can be truly independent, and then they can prosecute you, they can punish you, they can take you to court, whether you are APC or PDP, whether you are in the ruling party or not. If they are truly independent and people are answering for their misdeed, then we will get it right. But corruption persists because people are going scot-free. They know how to maneuver the system. As a matter of fact, many of them are always also being rewarded with appointment, with award, MON, whatever you are giving them. So when you have such a thing, then what do you expect in a country? You see, I keep saying it. If you made a promise on the national TV that this is what you are going to do, and you cannot do it, why are you still keeping your seat? And there is no cogent till today. I hope you notice that till today, aside the statement Festus Okoye signed that there is technical glitch, we have not had anything that caused the technical glitch. Even INEC has released the report of 2023 election. They still did not explain what happened. They released the report. They still did not explain what happened. So
Mr. Idowu, yeah. Sorry to cut in. Yeah, sorry to cut in, Mr. Idowu. So if we have people who are showing lack of integrity, who will make promises and break those promises simply because the loopholes in the law allow them to break the promises, and they are not resigning, they are not leaving their offices, like you said, can't they be removed? Are there any provisions for them to be removed from office?
So, for INEC Rec, National Commissioner, and then the chairman, if you need to remove them, the law says you have to go to the National Assembly. The same process of appointing is the same process of removing. So let me now tell you, in a situation that somebody works for a political party that is dominant in the in the National Assembly that will remove you, how would that get through? So we need to look at our laws. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Let's look at our law and let us stop rewarding impunity. And that is it. The moment we stop rewarding impunity, then we will move forward. Secondly, we need to now begin to be deliberate about who are the people that will be leading us. Until we start that, deliberate. And one of the easiest way out now is for citizens to participate. All this lower voter turnout, it pays them. That is why they are scaling through. Oshu election is coming. Just imagine, little people come out. Those little people are adequately budgeted for through vote buying. It pays them, and they get away scot-free. But if the citizen, over 3 million people that register in that state, come out, they don't have that budget. That is number one. And then that statement is made. But now we have been too docile. And lastly, what I will say on this is that most times we don't know where politics stop and governance start. We don't know it. Everything is politicized within our see, the moment the president or the governor take an oath of office, he ceases to be favoring, he is supposed to stop favoring his political party. Governors have started, whether you voted for me or not. But you now still see people today holding the money for a state, holding the money or disturbing somebody or disturbing an institution, starving one institution of fund just to favor your political party. We need to know when to start playing politics, and we need to know when to start, when governance starts.
All right, Mr. All right. Yeah, Mr. Idowu, you've actually started talking about my final question. This will be our final question because we are running out of time. That's talking about voter apathy in Nigeria. The last general election, the performance was below 27%, I guess around 26 point something percent. Don't you think, are you not concerned, Mr. Idowu, that a lot of Nigerians might have lost faith in the system, in the electoral system? You know, people who were once, people who were motivated, who believed their votes counted. A lot of Nigerians have actually lost faith. Looking at all these flaws in our electoral laws as a nation, what can we do just to stimulate that interest again, to make the people regain their trust in the system, especially the electoral system in Nigeria, and solve this problem of voter apathy once and for all?
Number one, get non-partisan people to head Inec from the local government to the national body of Inec. Non-partisanship must be the order of the day. Non-partisanship. That is one. So because nobody wants to waste their time. People keep telling you, why am I going to vote when my vote is not going to be counted? And that is the issue. So let's restore that credibility back into that system. Number two thing we need to do is now we need a judiciary that will be fair to all. So if citizen knows that even if something goes wrong, then the judiciary will remedy it. They will still come out. But when you think INEC has been captured, police has been captured, judiciary has been captured, then people resign to faith and they want to do things for themselves. The way they have been dealing with failure of government is the same way they are dealing with election now. And it shouldn't be. In fact, that was one of the things that worry the speaker. That's the Speaker of the House of Rep that said, look, maybe we should make voting compulsory. No, it is because people are losing the interest. What is making them to lose interest? The process has not been credible, so we need to make it credible. The laws, in some instances, are ambiguous. Ambiguous. You need to make it unambiguous. The laws need to be amended, and then punishment must be given for wrongdoing. If you don't do it, then what do you have? People are going to be getting discouraged every time. And then you will be happy that they are collecting PVC, not knowing that the PVC they are collecting is for the means of identification, not to truly vote. All
right. Thank you so much, Mr. Bukola Idowu, Executive Director of Kimpact Development Initiative. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
We sincerely appreciate you. Thank you once again. So much to talk about as far as our electoral processes are concerned, flaws in our electoral laws, unresolved electoral reform issues, and we will keep talking about it right here on this program, right here at Western Spring Television. We'll keep holding our leaders accountable because we are interested in having a better Nigeria. Nigeria must work, and we must work towards it. It won't work automatically. We have to do the right thing as a people, as a nation. Our leaders should show a high sense of integrity and accountability when it comes to our elections and electoral processes. thank you once again for joining us on Morning Spring this morning. Don't forget you can get a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV NG. Daniel Emeka is my name. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring TV.